Welcome to all the Libra rising signs of our zodiac to your astrology for April. Trust you're doing well. I'm Cosmic Girl 101. So before we get into it, we need to talk about your ruling planet Venus, where she's transiting, what dignity she's in. In short, what shape she's in. Is she doing well in the zodiac sign or is she struggling? Well, luckily for the Libra rising signs, Venus, your ruling planet, is currently transiting in the zodiac sign of Pisces, which is Venus's zodiac sign of exaltation. And this transit for you is happening in a part of your chart that's about the daily grind. It's where we provide services to other people. It's a house of labor. So a lot of heavy lifting happens in the sixth house. So work, 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 work. So for the Libra risings, opening up the month of April, you may feel as if you're just constantly pushing and getting a job done, but it all feels a little overwhelming. Some planets, when they're in their exaltation, they can be a little bit too much. So for you, you might be experiencing a little bit of burnout, Libra rising, with your planet Venus exalted in Pisces in your sixth house of work. Well, your ruling planet also this month is having some interesting alignments, conversations with other planets. So I'm going to be unpacking what that means for your rising sign in this video. So let's get to it, Libra rising. The sun is exalted in Aries. This is also very good. The sun's exalted in Aries. Your ruling planet Venus is exalted in Pisces. So we've got happy planets, but they're in full swing, in full octane. And when you've got the sun transiting in Aries on full octane in your seventh house, this is about other people, your relationships, be them intimate or otherwise. So you could be really seeing a lot of rambunctiousness around people that you knock shoulders with or that you have a close one-on-one relationship with, because that sun in Aries is extremely powerful. And it's also a little bit, maybe a bit too much, because Aries is ruled by the planet Mars, and Mars is your natural opposite planet. So you may be feeling, or at least witnessing through other people, that they're being quite bold and quite aggressive in what they're striving towards, what strategies they're taking. So you might be witnessing or even feeling that your partners or close one-on-ones are really quite focused, energetic, and may feel like you're not really jiving with them, because it's a completely opposite energy to you as a Libra rising, because Venus is so different to Mars. So the sun continues its transit in your seventh house, and any transits, even in your own natal birth chart, Libra rising, when you have transiting planets in the angular parts of your chart, so that's angular houses are house 1, house 10, house 7, house 4. These are like the microphones of the chart saying this is where it's all happening. So the focus for you, if you will, opening up the month of April continues on watching people around you just really going for it. Okay, on the 6th of April, your ruling planet Venus is retrograde. I may not have mentioned that in the opening. Excuse me for not being so on the ball. But yes, your ruling planet Venus is retrograde. That doesn't mean that Venus still isn't working hard and making you feel a bit exhausted, but she is retrograde, and that's a little bit different than when she's direct. When Venus is retrograde, your ruling planet, this is a moment where you realize potentially for you, Libra rising, that you're trying to readjust to a new environment on the day-to-day, because that sixth house is the day-to-day grind, service, and getting a job done. So you could be reevaluating a space that is familiar or habitual to you, or adjusting at this time is the potential for the Libra risings, with your ruling planet Venus retrograding in that sixth house. Nevertheless, the job goes on. So on the 6th, retrograde Venus trines Mars, and that rules that seventh house where the sun is exalted. So Mars is currently transiting in Cancer at the top of your natal chart in the 10th house. And when Venus and Mars, the two opposite planets of our zodiac, connect in a trine, this is a really nice aspect. So you might see a partner have a professional goal come to pass, or they may be taking a more leadership role in their workspace or profession. This also indicates that you could be having an easier time stepping away from work, not being so full on, is also a potential as well with retrograde Venus trining Mars in Cancer. On the 7th, retrograde Venus conjunct Saturn. So, well, Saturn just gets such a bad rap. I'm just going to have a sip of coffee. Saturn is ultimately about wisdom, and Saturn sits on the brink of a boundary from the mundane, the known, and what's outside of itself, which is a bigger picture. So Saturn holds that tension of a limit, but then you can go beyond that. And Saturn also represents wisdom and time. So in your ruling planet Venus retrograde, conjunct Saturn, the planet of knowledge about things that can go further, you may be feeling the itch, if you will, to extend yourself, go beyond what you would think you're not capable of on the 7th. So you're in contemplation mode here big time about your plans going forward with your work, your sense of service to yourself or even other people, and labor, and how work, labor and service all impacts your body. How does your body respond in kind? So you may be coming to a sobering realization that you can only go so far with your body and what you do on a day-to-day, but there's also so much more potential. So you could be feeling, Libra risings, like you may be exhausted, but there's so much you can do as well. But your body might be giving you a bit of a checking in on this day, on the 7th of April. The same day, Mercury, which has been traveling very close to your ruling planet Venus, has been in a retrograde in your 6th house of Pisces, and on the 7th goes direct. So Mercury is a very different planet to you, as is Mars, as is most planets. So they're all geared for, designed to be in opposition to one another. And Mercury going direct in your 6th house is good for focus. It's really good for research. So it's good to have your Sherlock hat on when it comes to services, work and labour in your body. So you might be just thinking, oh, I need to move my body. I need to connect with services. Maybe that can inspire me to get on top of the daily grind. So great for therapy, getting into the gym, going for a walk, and possibly doing a lot of reading about self-help and how you can grow within so it reflects on the outside. So that's quite lovely now that Mercury is going direct in your 6th house, where you can feel at least like all the mental scatter that maybe you've been dealing with is starting to settle down. So that's quite positive with Mercury now going direct in Pisces, your 6th house. On the 10th, your ruling planet Venus goes direct. Big news, because Venus rules you. So when she goes direct on the 10th in her zodiac sign of exaltation, well, it's all systems go with a very, very start slow. So what you've been thinking about, what you've been dealing with physically and on the daily grind, when Venus goes direct, that means that you can begin because you've potentially made some big decisions. Things have settled down. You're not so running around like Chook with his head cut off. I think from the 10th, you're feeling a lot more streamlined, and that means that your body responds in kind when the mind and the faculties line up. So slowly move into your organic energy now that Venus goes direct on the 10th, and things will start to follow through on the day-to-day that make you feel inspired, which is a better turnaround than being drained and feeling overwhelmed. So it's going to take a little while for Venus to pick up pace. So pace yourself when you're stepping into new shoes, new routines, and new paths forward when it comes to service, labour, and the daily grind. On the 13th, there's a full moon in Libra. So this is happening in your first house as a Libra rising. A big deal. It's on the angular part of your natal chart. So the moon is in full bloom. So this is the peak point of the moon's cycle. Well, it's all mental stimulation here because it really is about thinking on your feet on the 13th of April. So big decision time for you. So this can have a lot to do with your significant relationships, work decisions, superiors, and your professional direction. So something's possibly phasing out regarding work for you, or you could be seriously considering the financial repercussions of changing work or a profession or for a partner as well. So this could be a pretty dense intellectual day for you. But the full moon is that point where it's as far as it can go. So maybe for you, Libra rising, you've come to some sort of peace on the 13th with it's as far as I can go with work, what I do professionally, or what my partners do, or my relationships, how their work is affecting them. Maybe they need to change or change something up with their professional path as well. So I would expect a lot of mental exacerbation on the 13th of April. Like, this is the point that I've come to. And for Libra risings, I mean, you're very discerning. So you weigh up the pros and cons. So you could be seriously crunching the numbers or uh, doing a for list versus the against list when it comes to work and how you want to appear on the public stage and even a romantic partnership. So big decision time on the 13th of April. So watch for mental stimulation just on overload. Take it easy on the 13th. Mercury on the 17th ingresses into Aries, into your seventh house, joining that exalted sun. And this transit for Mercury is lasting until May 10. So Mercury in Aries is sharp, quick, swift, no BS. And in your part of your chart, Libra rising, that's about other people, other relationships in your life. Again, business, intimate or otherwise. So you could see partners or relationships around you taking some really, really big strides when it comes to decision making, when it comes to what they want to put their all into. So this could be relationships or partners around you wanting to study something, research something, want to socialize their engagement, or maybe they're feeling a bit caged and they need to break free. So expect other people around you to be quite wired and on and hitting the ground running. So you're observing a lot of activity in other people with Mercury now going into Aries from April 17 to May 10. Also, other relationships around you or intimate partnerships could be getting a bit of a reality check when it comes to their financial standing. So finances could be something that you're going to be talking about with other people with this transit with Mercury in Aries from April 17 to May 10. On the 18th, Mars steps into the zodiac sign of Leo until June 16. And Mars is going to be transiting in the 11th house for you. So the 11th house for you, Libra rising, is your benefactors, people that are strong alliances that support you. It's the house of friendships and your social connections. So when Mars steps into Leo, it's all about competitiveness. So you might find that friends are really quite competitive, rambunctious, they want to go for it. And you might be witnessing a different side to your friends at this time. Or you may even seek out different people, places, and faces that are stimulating, that are creative, that are flamboyant and opulent, and don't mind picking up a karaoke microphone. So you might feel like people around you, I'm not really feeling for you as a Libra rising that I'm not saying that you're not living your life, but it seems like other people around you are really quite active and you're doing a lot of observing. So from the 18th of April to June 16, just expect people to really start getting quite loud and proud, and you'll see a lot of egos coming into focus from the 18th of April to June 16. But Mars in Leo is all about being competitive to stand out from a crowd. So there may be people around you also Libra rising that are extremely competitive. I mean, I may have already said that, but what I'm trying to um, nail home here for you is that when people around you are competitive, it might spur you on to withdraw because you're naturally not drawn to Mars, which is full on. And you are a little bit different. You're wired different, if you will. You're not so interested in standing out from a crowd and being rambunctious and aggressive. You're more of a, oh, I can just let things come to me. I don't really have to strive that hard. And I really don't unify well with a lot of indulgence and a lot of ego. Actually, I find it quite distasteful. So you may start to see that people are around you are quite different than yourself. And no, not that you wouldn't be aware of this, but it just might be something that irritates you. So expect people around you to be a little bit too much with this transit. On the 19th, the sun ingresses into Taurus, your eighth house, for 4 weeks. So the sun is about the constancy, what's familiar, and where's the spirit. And in your eighth house of shared resources, this is where you may start to feel, as a Libra rising sign, that it's, you get more bees with honey if you play nice with other people. So for 4 weeks, from the 19th of April to the 19th of May, it's about just playing nice. Yes, people might be a little bit too much for you, but there's some merit or even benefit if you can just tolerate the exacerbation and opulent and indulgent ways of other people. So the key here for you, Libra rising, for 4 weeks when the sun's in Taurus, is not being so rigid and judgy. Just let people do what they need to do because there is benefit in connecting with other people, even if things aren't just so right now. On the 25th, your ruling planet Venus stations to go direct. So this is a big deal because she rules your body. She's like your planetary avatar for your life as a Libra rising. So Venus goes into retrograde every 18 months. So this is a rare thing. It's not a regular thing. So if you've just been feeling Libra rising, like it's just, it's all heavy lifting and like I'm just exacerbated by everything right now. It's all a bit too much. Well, it's something that will happen every 18 months for you because she rules you and that's going to be quite significant for you. So when Venus goes direct on the 25th, when she's exalted in Pisces in your sixth house, and this is a turning point that's quite significant for you in harmonizing with the daily grind and feeling like you've got some sort of handle on how to be creative about the daily grind, service and labor and how your body's responding in kind. So it's a positive turnaround on the 25th where you feel a lot more settled. And even though there's a lot going on around you, it's like you're the one that's quietly got your shit together and everyone else is running around just going, wow. So it's almost very, I've got it together, but have a look at everyone else. So that's quite a nice confident turnaround on the 25th of April. The same day when Venus does go direct in Pisces, your sixth house, Venus, your ruling planet, conjunct Saturn. So this again can indicate for you that you're ready to cross the threshold. You've got almost like the key to the gate where you've been sitting on the fence and you've just been waiting for that moment. Well, the 25th is that moment where you can start a brand new cycle that feels like it's going to take you beyond what is normal or familiar to you on a day-to-day. So quite lovely on the 25th of April for you. Mark that one in your calendar. On the 27th of April, we have a new moon in Taurus. The moon's exalted in Taurus, is very content, and this is in your eighth house, Libra rising. Interesting. So the moon rules your 10th house of Cancer, And there's a new beginning in Taurus here in the house where it's about shared resources, other people's resources. So again, this indicates that playing nice may be beneficial for you or a significant person in your life, and there's a brand new beginning that's quite. It's when I say quiet, it feels like there's some sort of strategy being executed and plans come to pass. So this is a new financial path for you or a partner, a new professional goal, a new resource coming in that supports you on the 27th of April. Now it is a new moon, it's just the beginning, but there's a light that you can see, Libra rising, where you can see the benefit of financially when it comes to finances or other people's resources that improve your public name, your image, your identity, your professional life. And there's a benefit here that you know is going to grow and flourish over time. So it could be starting a brand new project for yourself, a new work path as well, or a relationship starts moving in a different direction that's quite auspicious for them when it comes to building something of worth and value that has a financial aspect to it that's quite lucrative in the future for them and or for you. So quite lovely on the 27th of April. Venus, your ruling planet, on the 30th of April steps back into Aries, your seventh house, on an angular part of your natal chart until June 5th. So this is big. Okay. Your ruling planet Venus is now in Mars's domain. And we know that's very opposite to your planet. Mars is war and aggression, your peace and love. Different. So when Venus steps back into Aries, well, it's other people around you, it's significant relationships in your life that are going to be behaving more aggressively. So Venus takes on that energy of Mars. And Venus also rules you. So when Venus steps back into Aries from the 30th of April to June 5th, you're uncharacteristically in conflict and quite rambunctious when it comes to seeking out what you find pleasure in, what you love when it comes to relationships and other people around you. So it's not to say that you're all of a sudden going to be Mars, but you're certainly going to feel that itch to cut to the chase and be very direct with your speech and what you want. So this is great for cutting off dead wood regarding contracts and agreements or relationships that really do irritate you. Now you might just be going, yeah, nah, I'm done with you. I don't jam with you. So you could be cutting out people or getting rid of contracts and agreements that have run their natural course with this transit. So this is really sassy boss vibes, because when your ruling planet steps into Aries, this is all systems go, having a strategy and a plan and executing. So I think with your ruling planet Venus now going into Aries from the 30th of April to June 5th, I think people around you are going to see a very different side of you. And you may also see a lot of people around you that are connected to you through relationship really start to show their true colours, if you will, from the 30th of April to June 5th. So it's not going to be boring, Libra rising. That's your astrology for the month of April. I trust you have yourself a wonderful month. If you have any astrological questions about my services, please contact me at cosmic101 at protonmail.com. Till next time, Libra rising, stay cosmic.